I died at 28 while my cousin cried at my funeral. That should have been impossible. Tessa Monroe was the woman everyone believed I had killed. 11 months before my death, her car had crashed on a highway outside town. She survived, barely, but the police found evidence that someone had tampered with her brakes. Somehow, every trail led to me. My Uncle Graham had grabbed my shirt outside the hospital. "You murdered my daughter." I tried to save her. After destroying her car? I didn't touch it. Then why did she call you 6 times? I had no answer that anyone wanted to hear. Lila gave back my ring 2 days later. I can't marry someone I'm afraid of. You know me. I thought I did. Even my mother looked away when I begged her to believe me. Months passed. I lost my job, my friends, and nearly everything else. Then I found a copy of a garage record proving someone else had accessed Tessa's car. Before I could show anyone, my car went through a bridge railing. I remembered Blackwater. I remembered pain. Then nothing. Until my phone rang. I opened my eyes and stared at my bedroom ceiling. The ringtone stopped. For several seconds, I couldn't breathe. My room. My old apartment. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the phone. The date froze me. 11 months earlier. "No," I whispered. The phone rang again. Tessa Monroe. I stared at her name. I knew this night. I knew this call. In my first life, I had answered immediately. "Miles." Tessa had screamed. "Please come get me." I had driven toward her location, found the wreck, called an ambulance, and stayed beside her until Graham arrived. That decision had destroyed me. The phone kept ringing. Not this time. I let it stop. 10 seconds later, she called again. I clenched my jaw. "I'm sorry, Tessa." Another call. I turned the phone face down. Whatever happened tonight, I would not sacrifice my life for hers again. 20 minutes later, my bedroom door flew open. Owen stood there, pale and breathless. "Miles." I sat up. "What?" "It's Tessa." My stomach tightened. "What about her?" "She crashed." The room seemed to tilt. "No." Uncle Graham called Mom. "Tessa's car went off the highway. They're taking her to St. Matthew's." I stared at my phone. The crash had still happened. Owen frowned. "Why are you looking like that?" "Nothing." "Get your keys." "You're coming?" I almost said no. Then I remembered the garage record. Someone had framed me after the crash. If I stayed away now, maybe the evidence would change. Maybe the person behind it would make a mistake. "I'm coming." At the hospital, Graham was already pacing outside the emergency ward. The moment he saw me, he stopped. "You." I forced myself not to react. "What happened?" "You tell me." Owen stepped between us. "Uncle Graham, what are you talking about?" Graham pointed at me. "Tessa called him before the accident." My pulse jumped. "How do you know that?" I asked. His eyes hardened. "Because I checked her phone records." "That fast?" Silence. Something inside me shifted. In my first life, I had been too frightened to notice. Graham didn't look terrified. He looked furious. A woman in blue scrubs approached us. "Family of Tessa Monroe?" Graham rushed forward. "I'm her father. I'm Dr. Nora Hayes. Tessa is alive, but she has severe internal injuries. We've stabilized her for now. Can I see her?" "Not yet." "Will she live?" "We're doing everything we can." Graham nodded, but his eyes moved toward me again. "Doctor, was the crash an accident?" Dr. Hayes frowned. "I treat injuries, Mr. Monroe. The police determine causes." Graham stepped closer to me. "Why did she call you?" "I don't know." "You expect me to believe that?" "Yes." "She called you repeatedly." I didn't answer. His expression changed. Only for a second, but I saw it. Surprise. "You didn't answer?" "No." "Why?" "I was asleep." Owen looked at me, confused, but stayed quiet. Graham studied my face. Then he said, "Show me your phone." "No." I said, "Show me." And I said no. His jaw tightened. That anger again. Not grief. Not fear. Anger. I walked away before he could demand anything else. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out. One new voicemail. From Tessa. My hands went cold. In my first life, I had never received a voicemail. Or maybe I had never noticed one. I found an empty stairwell, put in my earphones, and pressed play. At first, there was only Tessa's breathing. Fast. Terrified. Miles. A loud bang struck something near her. I froze. Another bang. Glass rattled. Someone was hitting her car window. Tessa. I whispered, though the recording could not hear me. Her voice dropped. Miles, listen to me. Another violent. She sobbed. Dad knows what I found. My heart stopped. Graham. Tessa. What did you find? The recording continued. Don't come looking for me. A man shouted in the background. I couldn't understand the words. Tessa gasped. Then she screamed. The voicemail ended. Footsteps sounded outside the stairwell. I ripped out one earphone. Graham's voice came through the door. Miles. I locked my phone. He entered. What are you doing here? Getting air. In a stairwell? I needed privacy. His eyes dropped to my phone. Did Tessa leave you anything? The question hit hard. I kept my face empty. Like what? A message. A voicemail. Anything. No. He watched me. Give me your phone. I slipped it into my pocket. Why are you interested in my phone when your daughter is fighting for her life? His face went still. Then he smiled. Because family should have nothing to hide. I stood completely still. All those months, I had asked why Tessa called me for help. I had been asking the wrong question. She hadn't wanted me to save her. She had been trying to save me. I did not confront Graham. Every part of me wanted to. I wanted to drag him into the stairwell, play Tessa's voicemail, and watch his face when he heard her say his name. But that was what the old me would have done. The old me had been angry, desperate, and loud. The old me had died for it. So when Graham stared at my pocket and asked, "Are you hiding something from me?" I shrugged. Should I be? His eyes narrowed. Before he could answer, someone called my name. Miles. I turned. Lila Bennett hurried down the hallway and wrapped both arms around me. "Oh my God," she whispered. I came as soon as I heard. For one dangerous second, my body remembered loving her. Then my mind remembered everything else. Her ring on my kitchen table, her voice on television. I always had a feeling Miles could become violent. And 3 days before I died, I had seen her leaving a restaurant with Graham. I stepped out of her arms. Lila blinked. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. You just pushed me away." "I didn't." "Miles, I know you." "No." She knew the man I had been. That man was dead. "I'm tired," I said. She reached for my hand. I moved it before she could touch me. Her face tightened. Graham watched us from across the hall. Interesting. Before Lila could question me again, a tall man in a gray coat approached. "Monroe family?" Graham answered first. "Yes." The man showed his badge. "Detective Rowan Pierce. I'm investigating the collision involving Tessa Monroe." My chest tightened. I remembered Rowan. In my first life, he had been the officer who collected my phone. 2 days later, Tessa's voicemail had vanished. Rowan looked around. "I need everyone who spoke with Tessa tonight to cooperate. Phones included." Graham immediately pulled his phone out. "Take mine." Lila did the same. "Of course." Rowan looked at me. "Miles Monroe." "Yes. I understand Tessa called you several times." "She did." "May I see your phone?" My hand moved toward my pocket, then stopped. I remembered sitting in an interrogation room. I remembered shouting, "There was a message." I remembered Rowan replying, "There's no voicemail here, Miles." I lowered my hand. "No." The hallway went silent. Rowan raised an eyebrow. "No. You can have it with a warrant." Lila stared at me. "Miles, why would you say that?" "Because it's my phone." Graham stepped closer. "If you have nothing to hide, give it to him." I looked at him. That argument sounds better when the person saying it isn't desperate to see my phone. His face hardened. Rowan lifted one hand. "Enough. Mr. Monroe, you're within your rights. Don't delete anything." "I won't. I'll be speaking with you again." I expected that. When Rowan walked away, Lila grabbed my sleeve. "What is happening with you?" I pulled free. Maybe I finally started paying attention. To what? Before I could answer, Dr. Nora Hayes appeared. "Miles, can I speak with you privately?" Graham immediately said, "I'm her father." Nora's expression stayed professional. "And I'll update you on her condition. I need Miles for another matter." She led me into an empty consultation room and closed the door. What is it? Her voice lowered. Tessa's injuries concern me. How? This wasn't one impact. I stared at her. What do you mean? The damage pattern suggests her vehicle was struck twice. Twice. The first impact may have caused her to lose control. And the second? Nora hesitated. It appears to have happened afterward. My mouth went dry. Someone hit her after she crashed? That's what the injuries suggest. To make sure she couldn't leave? I didn't say that. You didn't need to. A nurse suddenly opened the door. Doctor, she's waking up. We ran. Tessa looked impossibly small beneath the hospital lights. Her eyes fluttered open. Tessa, I said. Graham rushed past me. Sweetheart, Dad's here. Tessa saw him. Her entire body stiffened. No, she rasped. The heart monitor began beeping faster. Graham froze. Tessa, no. He stepped closer. I moved between them. Back up. Graham glared at me. That's my daughter. And she's terrified. Miles, Nora warned. Tessa's fingers caught my wrist. I leaned closer. What is it? Blue locker. What? Station 17. Her eyes rolled shut. Tessa. Nora pushed me aside. Everyone out. Now. Hours later, I stood inside the abandoned Central train station. Locker 17 waited beneath a broken light. I entered Tessa's birthday. Click. Inside were 3 objects. A burned photograph, a hotel key card, and a digital recorder. I picked up the photograph first. Graham stood beside a man I didn't recognize. Between them was my mother, Diane Monroe. The date on the back was 23 years ago. The station was empty, and every sound carried. I glanced behind me. Get a grip, I muttered. I could not forget Tessa's warning. Don't come looking for me. Maybe she knew someone would follow. I turned the key card over. There was no hotel name, only room number, 412. The photograph bothered me more. My mother looked younger. Graham had one arm around her shoulder. The unknown man stood close enough to suggest they were not strangers. I studied my mother's smile. I had never seen that photograph. Why would Tessa hide this? My voice echoed back. I checked the station entrance. Nobody. Yet the feeling of being watched stayed. I slipped the key card into my jacket and raised the recorder. If you knew the truth, I whispered, why didn't you tell me sooner? Then I pressed play. My hands shook as I pressed play on the recorder. Static filled the station. Then Tessa spoke. If you're hearing this, something happened to me. She inhaled shakily. Miles, I'm sorry. I gripped the recorder tighter. There's something our family has hidden from you your whole life. I stopped breathing. Then Tessa said the words that changed everything. Miles, your father didn't die the way they told you. I pressed play again. Tessa's voice returned through the recorder. I found something in Monroe Dynamics' old payroll files. I sat alone in my car outside the station. What did you find, Tessa? Payments to a dead employee. My fingers tightened around the recorder. The employee was your father, Miles. I stopped breathing. Tessa continued. His employee number has received payments every year since his death. Someone has been using his identity for more than 20 years. Why? I don't know everything yet. Find Felix Grant. He used to handle the company accounts. Don't tell Dad. The recording ended. By morning, I had found Felix. He lived above a closed hardware store across town. When he opened his apartment door, he looked at me once and tried to close it. Mr. Grant, go home. I'm Miles Monroe. I know. Tessa sent me. His hand stopped. Leave. She found payments made under my father's name. Felix's face tightened. I can't help you. Can't or won't. Both. I pulled the burned photograph from my jacket. Then explained this. Felix stared at it. All the color disappeared from his face. Where did you get that? Tessa hid it. He grabbed my wrist. Get inside. I entered. Felix locked 3 separate bolts behind me. That's Graham, I said, pointing at the photograph. That's my mother. Who's the other man? Felix looked at me. Your father. My throat tightened. I had been too young when Dad died. Most photographs of him had disappeared after the funeral. What were they doing together? Building Monroe Dynamics. I stared at him. My grandfather founded Monroe Dynamics. That's the story Graham created. What's the truth? Felix sat down slowly. Your father and Graham built it together. Your father handled operations. Graham handled financing. Why hide that? Because your father discovered what Graham was financing. I stepped closer. Tell me. Felix rubbed his face. Certain company shipments carried more than equipment. Graham used overseas invoices to hide illegal transfers. Money laundering? Among other things. And Dad found out? Yes. What did he do? He threatened to expose Graham. My stomach turned. Then he died. Felix looked away. The boating accident. You don't believe it was an accident? No. Say it. Felix looked directly at me. I believe Graham murdered your father. The words should have shocked me. Instead, they made too much sense. Why didn't you tell anyone? I had children. So you stayed quiet? I stayed alive. I slammed my palm against his table. My father didn't. Felix flinched. I know. And Graham kept everything? Not legally. What does that mean? Felix stood and opened a metal cabinet. He removed an old folder. Your father owned 40% of Monroe Dynamics. I stared at him. 40. Those shares should have passed to his heir. Me. Yes. But Graham owns them. Because 3 days before your father died, he supposedly sold his entire stake to Graham. Felix placed a document before me. I recognized my father's name. The signature beneath it looked wrong. That's forged. Felix nodded. I witnessed your father sign hundreds of documents. That isn't his signature. My mind raced back to my first life. The accusations. My arrest. My ruined reputation. My death. I wasn't framed because of Tessa. Felix frowned. What? I thought someone destroyed me because I tried saving her. I looked at the forged document. But I owned something Graham stole. Felix's voice dropped. And Tessa found proof. Then why wait 11 months to kill me? Felix hesitated. There's something else. He opened another folder. This clause was added when the company was formed. I read it twice. If a controlling partner died or was convicted of serious financial crimes, disputed founder shares returned automatically to the original owner's legal heir. I whispered, if Tessa exposed Graham, you would have received your father's shares. So both of us became threats. My phone rang. Rowan Pierce. I answered immediately. What happened? How quickly can you reach the hospital? Why? Someone entered Tessa's room dressed as medical staff. I stood. Is she alive? Yes. Dr. Hayes noticed him near her and challenged him. What was he doing? He had a syringe. With what? A medication that could have killed her at that dose. My skin went cold. Did you catch him? No. But security cameras got his face. Rowan sent me an image. I opened it. My knees almost weakened. No. You recognize him? Julian Voss. How? I remembered burning metal. My wrecked car hanging near the bridge. A stranger dragging me across the road. Stay awake, Miles. Julian. For 11 months, I had believed he saved me. Miles. I forced myself back. I met him before. When? That's complicated. Make it uncomplicated. I can't yet. Rowan cursed softly. If you know something, tell me. I will. When? When I know who I can trust. I hung up. Felix stared at me. What happened? Someone just tried to kill Tessa. His face collapsed. Graham? I don't know. And that frightened me more. I returned home after dark. I had decided one thing. No confrontations. No accusations. Not until I understood everyone's role. I opened my bedroom door. Lila was sitting on my bed. My digital recorder was in her hand. I froze. Put that down. Her eyes were wet. You weren't supposed to find this yet. Yet? She stood. Miles, listen to me. How did you get into my room? Owen let me in. Give me the recorder. I can explain. Then start. She closed the bedroom door. I've been working for Graham for 3 years. I stared at the woman I had planned to marry. Working how? Watching you. Why? To make sure you never discovered what belonged to you. I laughed once. It sounded empty. So, our relationship, her face broke. That became real. Don't. I love you. You betrayed me. Yes. The answer hurt more because she didn't deny it. She stepped closer. But there are things Graham doesn't know. Like what? Like who's actually controlling this? You expect me to believe Graham takes orders? I expect you to survive long enough to understand. Survive what? Her eyes locked onto mine. But Miles, Graham isn't the person who killed you. Everything inside me stopped. I had told nobody. Not Tessa. Not Felix. Not Rowan. Not even Owen. What did you just say? Lila went pale. Miles, how do you know I died? I can explain. Then explain. A gunshot exploded downstairs. We ran. Owen, I reached the hallway first. The front door stood open. Owen lay beside it. Blood spread beneath his body. I dropped beside him. No. Owen, look at me. His eyes barely moved. Miles, I'm here. Behind him. For words had been carved deep into the wooden door. I read them twice. Then a third time. My blood turned cold. You already died once. Owen was still breathing. That was the only thing keeping me from losing control. Stay with me, I said, pressing both hands against his wound. His face twisted. It hurts. I know. Am I dying? No. Miles, you are not dying. Lila dropped beside me. The ambulance is coming. I looked at her. If he dies, I will never forgive you. Her face went white. I didn't do this. You worked for Graham. I watched you. That's all. Then start talking. Miles, Owen needs. I know what Owen needs. Owen grabbed my wrist weakly. Stop fighting. That nearly broke me. Paramedics arrived minutes later. At the hospital, Dr. Nora Hayes took Owen into surgery. I stood outside with blood covering my shirt. Lila sat across from me. I finally said, "Tell me everything." She looked up. Graham approached me 3 years ago, before we got engaged. Yes. What did he want? Information. Where you went. Who you met. Whether you asked questions about Monroe Dynamics. And you agreed? My mother owed money. So you sold me? I thought Graham was protecting the company. You told reporters you feared me. Her eyes filled. I was ordered to. I laughed bitterly. Of course. Miles, there's something else. What? 3 days before your accident, I followed Graham to an empty warehouse. My anger disappeared. Why? He had stopped trusting me. Who was there? Julian Voss. My chest tightened. What did you hear? They were arguing about you. About killing me? I couldn't hear everything. Lila. She swallowed. Julian said, if Miles dies again, everything changes. I stared at her. Again. That's what he said. Exactly. Exactly. My mind returned to the bridge. Julian pulling me from the wreck. The explosion behind us. Had he really saved me? Or had he needed me alive? You knew I died. I whispered. I suspected something impossible was happening. And you said nothing? What could I say? That Julian talked like you had already lived through your own death. My phone rang. Nora. Tessa's awake, she said. And she's asking for you. I found Tessa alone. Her voice was weak. Miles. I'm here. Dad. Gone. She closed her eyes. Good. I sat beside her. Tessa, I need the truth about Julian. Her eyes opened immediately. You know about him? He tried to enter your room with a syringe. Fear crossed her face. No. Did you know him before the crash? Yes. How? He contacted me 6 months ago. Why? He said Dad was stealing from Monroe Dynamics. Was he lying? Not completely. I leaned forward. Explain. Julian gave me records, payments, shipping reports, old contracts. Were they real? Some. And the others? Fake. I stared at her. How do you know? I checked them before the crash. He mixed false evidence with real evidence. Why? I think he wanted me to find something specific. What? I never figured it out. I took out my phone and showed her Julian's photograph. Was this the man who attacked you? Her breathing changed. Miles, tell me. I never saw who hit my window. What about the crash? She looked toward the door. Julian's car followed me. You're sure? Yes. He forced you off the road? Her eyes filled with tears. He hit me once from behind. And the second impact? She whispered. He backed up. My stomach turned. He hit you again? I couldn't move. Tessa. I thought he was going to kill me. I stood. Why call me? To warn you. About Julian? About everyone. That answer stayed with me. Everyone. My phone vibrated. Felix. I answered. Tell me you found something. I found where the payments went. From my father's employee identity? Yes. Where? Felix hesitated. A trust. Whose? Not Graham's. I walked into the hallway. Felix. The Voss Heritage Trust. Julian. For a moment, everything became clear. Too clear. Julian had pushed Tessa toward Graham. Julian had attacked her. Julian had received money through my dead father's identity. Julian knew I had died before. What does he want? I asked. I don't know. Find out. Miles, this is bigger than... I know. I ended the call. Lila was waiting near Owen's room. How is Tessa? She confirmed Julian ran her off the road. Lila covered her mouth. So, he's behind everything. Maybe. Every time I thought I understood this, another lie appeared. My phone rang again. This time it was my mother. I answered. Mom. No response. Mom. A man spoke instead. Hello, Miles. I knew the voice. Julian. My entire body went cold. Where is my mother? A soft sob came through the phone. Mom. Miles, she cried. Then the sound disappeared. What did you do to her? Nothing yet. If you hurt her, you'll what? Kill me. Julian laughed. You tried anger before. It didn't work. My grip tightened. You remember. Silence. Then Julian said, You're finally asking the right questions. Where is Graham? Another pause. That frightened me. What did you do to him? You think Graham is your enemy because he stole your inheritance. He murdered my father. Did Felix tell you that? Answer me. Graham disappeared 30 minutes ago. My heart jumped. You took him. No. Then who did? Julian's voice changed. For the first time, I heard fear. That is the problem. My mother cried again. Let her go. I can't. Why? Because someone is coming for all of us. I stepped away from Lila. Who? Julian whispered. The person who sent your car off the bridge. I stopped breathing. You? No. Then give me a name. I will. When? When you bring me Tessa's recorder. I looked toward her hospital room. Why? Because there's something on it she never heard. What? Julian took a breath. The reason you were supposed to die the first time. The call ended. I stared at the screen. For the first time since waking in the past, I understood one terrifying truth. Julian wasn't hunting me alone. He was afraid of whoever was. Julian sent the address 10 minutes later. Monroe Dynamics, Warehouse 6. Come alone. In my first life, those words would have controlled me. I would have rushed there because my mother was in danger. This time I called Rowan. I need your help. He was silent. Finally. I know where Julian is. Send me the address. I will. But you can't enter until I signal. You don't give police orders, Miles. He has my mother. Another pause. And Graham? Possibly. What aren't you telling me? Almost everything. That's becoming a habit. I need 1 hour. You get 30 minutes. I called Felix next. Can you access Warehouse 6 cameras? I can try. Do it. Then Tessa. Her voice was weak. You're going, aren't you? Yes. Miles, Julian wants the recorder. He'll get a copy. You finally learned something. I learned by dying. Silence. Don't joke about that. I wasn't. My last call was Lila. I need you to stay with Owen. No. Lila, I spent 3 years betraying you. Let me help now. You can help by keeping him safe. She exhaled. What do you need? If Felix sends you anything, forward it to Rowan. And you? I'm going to meet Julian. Miles. What? Come back. I closed my eyes. I plan to. 30 minutes later, I entered Warehouse 6. Mom. Miles. Her voice came from upstairs. I ran toward it. Stop. Julian stepped from behind a support beam. He held a gun. My mother sat tied to a chair behind him. Graham was tied beside her. Graham's face was bruised. You came alone, Julian said. Obviously. He smiled. No, you didn't. My stomach tightened. You've changed. People do that. Not this quickly. Where's the recorder? First, tell me why. Julian laughed. You think this started with you? Then educate me. His smile disappeared. My father was Marcus Voss. The name meant nothing to me. Julian noticed. Of course they erased him. Graham muttered, Don't listen to him. Julian struck him across the face. Quiet. I stepped forward. Touch him again, and what? I stopped. Julian smiled. Still protecting family. Not protecting. Preserving evidence. Graham looked at me. That felt good. Julian lowered the gun slightly. Marcus Voss helped build Monroe Dynamics. Felix said my father and Graham built it. Felix didn't know everything. So tell me. My father created the overseas network that made the company profitable. Illegal transfers. At first, legal ones. And later, Julian looked away. Later, he became greedy. My father discovered it. Yes. And exposed him? Yes. What happened? My father lost everything. Graham laughed bitterly. Marcus destroyed himself. Julian pointed the gun at him. And you stole what remained. Graham stopped laughing. I looked between them. What did he steal? My father's ownership. Julian's voice shook. Graham forged documents after Marcus fell, just like he forged documents after your father died. So you blamed all of us. I was 12. You're not 12 anymore. No. I spent years becoming patient. You used Tessa. Yes. You fed her evidence. Yes. You forced her off the road. His expression changed. That wasn't supposed to happen. She said you hit her twice. She was carrying evidence that could destroy everything. So you tried to kill her. I panicked. I almost laughed. That's your defense? I don't need your forgiveness. What about me? Julian stared at me. I needed to understand you. Why? Because you started doing impossible things. My heart beat harder. You told Graham, if Miles dies again, everything changes. His eyes widened. So Lila heard that. You remember dying too? No. I froze. What? I don't remember another life. Then how did you know? Because you changed. He stepped closer. You ignored Tessa's calls. You protected your phone before anyone had touched it. You found Felix years before you were supposed to know his name. You were watching me. Constantly. Then what did dies again mean? Julian smiled faintly. A test. A test. I wanted to see Graham's reaction. I turned toward my uncle. Graham's face had changed. Julian continued. And Graham looked terrified. My mother whispered, Graham? I stared at him. What did you know? Nothing. Stop lying. Julian laughed. Tell him. Graham looked at me. You want truth? Yes. I knew Julian hated us. You used him. I directed him. Julian's smile vanished. What? Graham continued. I let him find records. I let him approach Tessa. I knew eventually his revenge would become useful. Julian raised the gun. You manipulated me? Of course. My stomach twisted. Tessa's crash. Graham looked directly at me. I knew Julian would go after her. And me. You were always the bigger problem. My mother started crying. Graham, he's your nephew. He owns 40% of my company. My father's company, I said. Graham smiled coldly. And that is why you could never be allowed to live. Sirens suddenly screamed outside. Julian spun toward the doors. Graham's expression collapsed. What did you do? I reached into my jacket and removed my phone. The call with Rowan had never ended. I stopped dying for people who lied to me. The warehouse doors burst open. Police! Drop the weapon! Julian slowly lowered his gun. Graham stared at me with hatred. For years, my family had taught me that loyalty meant sacrifice. My father had died for the truth. Tessa nearly died finding it. Owen had been shot because of it. And I had already died once trying to save everyone. Not again. I looked at Graham as Rowan placed him in handcuffs. This time, I said, you can save yourself.